Think about this for a second. Plants are literally rooted to one spot. They can't run from danger, they can't go looking for a partner, and they definitely can't pack up and move to a better neighborhood. And yet, they have taken over almost every single corner of our planet. So how on earth did they do it? Let's dive in.
Right. This is the big question, isn't it? How do you conquer the world when you can't even move? Well, the answer is just this incredible collection of strategies for survival and expansion, all perfected over millions and millions of years. It's really a masterclass in making the absolute most of your situation.
So, the first, and you could argue the most important, decision a plant has to make is how to create the next generation. This one choice really sets the stage for everything else that follows.
And it really comes down to two fundamental paths. On one side, you've got asexual reproduction. That's the solo act. And on the other, there's sexual reproduction, which, takes two. Each path is a completely different game with its own set of rules.
Okay, let's break down the trade-offs here, because this is crucial. Asexual reproduction, it's super fast, it's efficient, and if you're already perfectly happy where you are, you can create a whole army of successful clones. The huge risk, though, zero genetic variation. A single new disease could just come along and wipe out the entire population. Now, sexual reproduction. That's slower, it takes way more energy, but all that genetic shuffling it creates, that is the ultimate insurance policy against a changing world.
So let's look a little closer at that solo act. Vegetative propagation is pretty much what it sounds like, cloning. It's all about taking a piece of the parent plant, could be a stem, a root, sometimes even just a leaf, and growing a whole new, genetically identical plant from it.
A perfect example is something like a shallot bulb. A new little bulb just starts growing on the side of the parent, siphoning off resources until, bam, it's ready to go it alone as its own independent plant. It's super reliable, a direct copy-paste.
Or think about cuttings. Gardeners do this all the time. You just snip off a piece of a stem, pop it in some soil or water, and it'll start growing its own roots. You've literally just made a brand new plant from a little fragment of the original.
And then you get to one of nature's most wonderfully bizarre examples. This is the bryophyllum plant. It doesn't even bother with a stem or a root cutting. It grows these tiny, perfect, fully formed little plantlets right on the edges of its leaves. And when they're ready, they just fall off and start a new life on the ground. It's like an incredible, non-stop factory for making clones.
So cloning is awesome when times are good and stable. But for long-term survival, in a world that's always changing, with new pests, new diseases, a shifting climate, you need variety. You need to roll the genetic dice. So how does a plant that's stuck in one place do that?
The answer is with one of the most sophisticated and, let's be honest, beautiful structures in the entire natural world, the flower. Flowers aren't just there to look pretty. They are high-tech reproductive machines.
Let's look under the hood here. This cross-section shows you the key players. You've got the male part, the stamen, which produces all the pollen. And then you have the female part, the pistil, which is designed to receive that pollen and contains the ovules that will eventually become seeds. The entire goal of the flower is to get the pollen from here over to here.
Okay, now this is a really crucial point that people mix up all the time. There are two totally separate steps here. First, there's pollination. Think of that as just the delivery service. It's the physical act of getting pollen from point A to point B. A bee could do it, the wind could do it, but that's not the main event. Fertilization is the main event. That's the biological magic, the moment the genetic material from the pollen actually fuses with the ovule to start making a seed.
But remember, the whole point of this is to get that precious genetic variation. So plants have evolved these incredibly clever tricks to avoid pollinating themselves. Some will have their male and female parts mature at totally different times. Others, like cucumbers, put separate male and female flowers all over the same plant. And some just go all in and are entirely male or entirely female plants. The primrose even has two different flower shapes to make self-pollination physically almost impossible.
So fertilization was a success, a seed is born, but the plant's job is far from over. Now comes the next great challenge, getting that seed out of the house and away from home so it can find its own place in the sun. The mission is simple, dispersal. I mean, think about it. If a seed just falls straight to the ground right under its parent, it's going to have to fight for light, for water, for nutrients. To give its baby the best possible shot at life, the parent plant needs to help it escape. And the methods plants use are just as varied as the plants themselves. Some have engineered these tiny wings, like maple seeds, that spin and ride the wind. Others have built these feathery parachutes for a long, gentle drift. A lot of them are hitchhikers. They'll get an animal to do the work or even float on water to find new shores.
And some just explode. They build up all this pressure in their seed pods until, boom, the seeds are flung far and wide.
The strawberry is just a genius example of a plant that basically bribes an animal to do its dirty work. That sweet, delicious red fruit, it's just a tasty transportation device. The real mission is to get some animal to come along, eat it, wander off, and, well, deposit the tiny seeds somewhere new, complete with their own little packet of fertilizer. It's brilliant.
So the seed has traveled. It's found a new home. But it's still just a seed, a tiny, dormant little package of potential. The very last step in this epic journey is to wake it up.
For this sleeping giant to finally wake up, it usually needs 3 key things to be just right. First up is water. Water swells the seed and kicks all its internal chemistry into high gear. Second, it needs oxygen to fuel the respiration that provides all the energy. And third, it needs warmth, just the right temperature to make sure all those chemical reactions are happening at the perfect speed.
And what's absolutely amazing is that so many seeds can just wait. They can lie dormant for weeks, for years, sometimes even for centuries. I mean, scientists successfully germinated a 2,000-year-old date palm seed they found in an ancient fortress. This ability to just hit pause, to go into suspended animation, is one last brilliant survival strategy. From cloning itself when times are good, to gambling on genetic diversity, to bribing animals and engineering tiny helicopters for its kids, the plant has truly mastered the art of survival. It really makes you wonder, right? In a world that seems to prize constant motion and speed, what can we learn from the quiet, calculated, and deeply strategic patience of a plant?